Youth in foster care face many barriers to accessing educational opportunities. Often, when youth have to move in and out of foster homes, they are also moving away from their schools. This is problematic for so many reasons. It interferes with relationships and normalcy. Changing schools also impacts academics. Moving in the middle of the school year creates gaps in learning. For example, the biology class in one school isn't necessarily doing the same thing in the same order as the biology class from another school. Youth in high school also struggle with getting full credit for the work they've done. Instead of getting a year's U.S. history credit, for example, a student might get elective credits because the course descriptions didn't align, or they might fail the course because they transferred in too late to do well on the final exam. Catherine Belcher is a clinical consultant at the Rocky Mountain Children's Law Center. Catherine will share her insights into how school moves impact the youth she works with.
Kids spend a lot of time in their schools. It's like their full-time job Monday through Friday. They develop a community within their schools. They walk through familiar halls on a daily basis, see their friends, and interact with the staff. They can predict the bell system, the time when they get to eat their meals, and the different responses they will receive from each of their teachers. The structures within the school system provide a space that allows for children to feel safe, as they know what to expect. When I think about youth and out-of-home placement and the statistics related to their education, it makes total sense. Imagine deciding to move across the country to a city where you know no one. Now imagine starting a new job there. Again, you don't know one person nor the dynamics of the organization. You don't even know your way around your new office building. Think about the anxiety that comes with starting a new job or moving. This causes a great deal of stress for all of us, and lots of us have incredible support systems that we can reach out to as we go through these transitions. The key difference in this example is that a majority of the time, we have a choice as we make huge decisions like this. We have a choice, and it is still highly stressful and anxiety-provoking. Youth in out-of-home placement don't have a choice when they are pulled from their homes and then put into new schools.
There is a federal law called Fostering Connections that aims to fix this problem. The Fostering Connections Act requires child welfare agencies to ensure that when youth change residential placements, they remain in the same school unless it is in their best interest to change schools. If it is not in a student's best interest to stay in the same school, they must be immediately and appropriately enrolled in a new school. To implement this law, child welfare agencies need to determine what is in each child's best interest each time that they change placements. The Administration for Children and Families has issued guidance that states should develop a standard and deliberate process for making best interest determinations. By looking at models from around the country, we have identified 5 key features of a standard and deliberate process. Delegation of responsibility and timelines for child welfare agencies to facilitate the process. Identification of the people to be included in the best interest discussion. A list of factors to consider. A dispute resolution process for when the team does not reach consensus, including provisions for the student to remain in their school pending the final decision. And now Lala's story. Lala is a former foster youth, and she will share her perspective on why school stability is so important.
I entered foster care at 12 years old, and I emancipated at 18. I can remember being in about 21 different residential placements. Middle schools, I think I went to about 3. High schools, somewhere around 6. Moving schools so much affected me academically because when I was moving schools, most of the time it was in a different city, which meant it was in a different county, which meant the credits weren't transferable, or if it was transferable, they would only be half credits depending on the credit system for the county in which I moved. So that put me a year behind in school. Unfortunately, I was unable to get my high school diploma, but I did get a GED. I tried to pursue higher education. It did not go well. I felt like I wasn't prepared for higher education, being that I didn't finish high school and take those prerequisite classes so that I can have a smooth transition into college. I work at Mile High United Way as an administrative assistant for the resource development team. I am support for the major gifts managers and the supervisors above them, as I am also responsible for the Tocqueville donors and their accounts and anything related to them. I feel like I'm doing well considering my situation, being a former foster child, being able to move into the workforce. I consider this a very good thing. Unfortunately, it's not what I would like to be doing. I would like to be in college and working towards being an entrepreneur and having the education to back that up. And right now I just can't go to school. I have to work to make ends meet at home, so school is secondary and I'm kind of disappointed about it. My friends from when I was in foster care aren't doing so well. Their main priority is maintaining housing and maintaining employment, so school is secondary. And education is a real fine piece to meeting those career goals, because you need that education to back up what you're working towards in your career. So since they don't have that right now, they're not doing so well. If I could go back to my old caseworker and ask her to do things differently, I would ask her to listen to me. I'd want her to listen to my educational goals and make sure that they align with whatever educational decision she's going to make on my behalf. I would ask her to consider trying to keep me in the school of origin if I'm not moving out of the district. I would ask her to consider my credits, because that's a big thing, to make sure that they are transferable. And if not, what is the best way to go about making sure that I get the credit I need so I can graduate on time? Educational stability is important for youth because it sets the foundation for the rest of their life, from high school transitioning onto higher education and into their career.
Colorado is seeing some really exciting collaboration to implement Fostering Connections and to give our youth the school stability that they need and deserve. In partnership with the Colorado Department of Education, the Department of Human Services, the Rocky Mountain Children's Law Center, and many other stakeholders, we have developed a model process for determining when it is in a student's best interest to remain in their school. Under this model, the County Department of Human Services facilitates a discussion among a young person's team to look at their needs on a case-by-case basis. For purposes of this training, we are focusing on that decision-making process itself. The team should consider the child's relevant educational records. If a student receives special education services, the team must consider the student's IEP. If a student is in high school, the team must consider the student's current transcript and credits toward graduation. The model also includes a list of participants who should be involved. Ideally, everyone will attend an in-person meeting. When people on the team are unable to attend a meeting, the department should still seek their input in some way, such as by phone or by email. The team should include many of the same people who are usually involved in child welfare family engagement meetings, plus the addition of some education-specific people. The department should consult the following people: the youth, parents, caseworker, and the guardian ad litem. A representative from the current school who knows the student. If the student has an educational surrogate parent, that person must also be included. The child's future caregiver, if known. Then, depending on the individual situation of each case, the department should also include the following people as appropriate: the child's current caregiver, the CASA if there is one, a representative from the potential new school, and other key adults in a child's life. Together, this team discusses the child's educational needs. Federal guidance tells us that teams can consider a broad range of factors, but they suggest a few key factors to start: the child's preference, the child's safety, how the current school and the potential new school can meet the child's needs, including special education and other interests. Our model expands on the broad category of the child's needs with a list of questions for the team to consider. There are a lot of questions to prompt consideration of how a school move can impact every area of a student's life. Depending on the circumstances of each youth, a team may consider some factors more heavily, while other factors are less important or not relevant. The model's questions address the students' relationships in their current school, considering both peers and adults, the students' past history of school moves, how the students' residential placement change will affect their other non-school relationships. For example, in some cases, school relationships might be the only consistent relationships a child has. Where the student's siblings go to school, how the current school meets the student's academic needs, and how the potential new school could meet those needs. How a school move would affect a student's ability to earn credits and to graduate on time. How the current school meets the student's social and emotional needs, and how the potential new school could meet those needs. Whether the new residential placement is expected to be long-term or short-term. Whether a school move could be timed to coincide with a logical academic juncture, such as the end of the school year. How the length of the commute impacts the student. But federal guidance tells us that the cost of transportation cannot be a factor. Finally, the parent's preference. After considering all of the factors important to a student's case, the team should decide as a group whether or not it is in the child's best interest to stay in the same school. The department should document the decision, along with the reasons for the decision, in the family's case plan. By working together to make thoughtful, child-centered decisions, we can give all youth the opportunity to succeed in school.